It's vegan recipes as far as the eye can see.
Thanks for stopping by and joining me, Emily, today. We are going to be cooking some orange tofu with curried walnuts. To get started, we're going to go over to the stove and start cooking our zucchini. I've got my skillet preheating here. The first thing that we are going to do is cook our zucchini up. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And I just cut my zucchini long ways and then cut those pieces in half. There we go. One in half. Didn't get cut the whole way. We're going to cook this for 5 to 10 minutes just until it is crisp tender. Until it's the texture that you would want to eat it. I'm going to salt and pepper it. While our zucchini is cooking, if you are going to want to serve this with a starch, you could go ahead and get your rice cooker going or start up a pot of noodles. It's been about 5 minutes and we're going to check our zucchini. We are going to check it by taking a knife or a fork and stabbing it in there. And that is about where I want it. It will get cooked a tiny bit more later. I am going to take this out of the pan and we'll start our next step. We dumped our zucchini into a strainer. I'm just going to dry out my skillet real quick. The next part of our recipe is going to be currying our walnuts. Some coconut oil I'm going to melt in my skillet here. Then we have some rough chopped walnuts we're going to add. Then to that we are adding some curry. This is Muchi curry and some cayenne pepper. You can use whatever kind of curry you like or if you have a curry that you make. And we just want to coat these nuts and get them lightly toasted. The toasting should take about 5 to 10 minutes and you should stir it fairly frequently. If you did not want to use any oil in this recipe, another option would be to soak your walnuts for a few hours and then coat them with your cayenne and curry, and then you could still toast them in a skillet or in the oven and they would look more like this. They are a little bit of a different texture. They don't have quite the same crunch. We'll put that in the notes below with the recipe. Our walnuts are getting there. You'll start to smell them, and when it gets close to the end of them being done, they can burn very quickly, so you're going to want to pay more attention to them. And go ahead and taste them to see if they are done. Also, I'm going to add a little salt and pepper to these. We have browned our nuts a little bit here, and I'm going to call these done. I'm going to dump them out of this pan, and then we're going to start the tofu. We took our walnuts out of our skillet. We are not going to wipe it out this time or return it to the heat. Then we are going to place our tofu in here. We just took this out of the packet and sliced it. Then we are going to put a medium purple onion in here. We just did a big chop on it. We quartered it. I'm going to let this cook about 7 minutes, and we're going to want to flip over our tofu. While that's cooking, let's get our sauce ready. For our orange sauce, we're going to juice 1 orange, or you could just use 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of orange juice. We're going to add soy sauce, a little bit of liquid smoke, maple syrup, garlic powder, some orange zest, and ginger. And then we just need to get that all mixed together. I'm going to just set that aside for right now. I have not flipped my tofu yet, but I wanted to show you that I have been stirring my onions around a little bit. You do not want to flip your tofu too many times. It will just cause it to break up, and then you won't really get a nice sear on the bottom. I think we're going to let this cook for another minute, and then we'll be back and flip them. Alright, I am going to flip my tofu now. Oh, we got a nice brown on there. That's good. If you do flip it too early, don't worry about it. Flip it back over. Now we are going to brown this side of the tofu, and then we'll get saucy. Now I think our tofu is done. We're going to check the bottom, see what we got going on under there. I am happy with that. So now we're going to add our sauce. Now we're going to dump our zucchini in the skillet also, and we're going to cover this, and we want it to come up to a boil. It looks like my sauce is bubbling in there. I just want to stir my vegetables into it. Make sure all of the tofu has plenty of sauce on it. It is looking and smelling beautiful already. And then I'm going to cook this for a few minutes with the lid off and let it boil and reduce a tiny bit. I just tasted a piece and I decided that we need a little salt and pepper. So feel free to taste it and adjust for your taste. And just get that stirred in. And then optional with this is noodles or rice. Sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't. Today we have some noodles that we already prepared. So I'm going to try to slide everything over to one side of my pan. And like I said, you could just stop here and serve this as is with your walnuts on top. But today we have noodles, and you could also do this with rice. This will heat them and also get that flavor going in your noodles too. Now we're really just waiting for these noodles to warm up and we will be plating and eating lunch. Let me mix some of these veggies in here so we get more sauce on the noodles. Love the smell of the oranges. I think I especially like oranges in wintertime. Alright, I am calling this done. Stick a fork in it. We will plate it up and be right back. Alright, now for the taste test. Piece of tofu here. The nuts give it a little bit of a kick and a nice crunch to offset the softness of the tofu. The orange and the ginger and the zucchini just mix so well together. I hope you give this dish a try and I think you're gonna love it. Thanks for stopping by and please subscribe and we'll see you next week.